It's been a while since I've made one of these videos, and I've made quite a lot for the Assassin's Creed games, but I also want to do them for the Far Cry series as well. It's been even longer since my original review of Far Cry 5, and I'm thinking I'll probably revisit it again in full sometime in the next couple years, since I made that video when I was still relatively new at YouTube, but also because I feel my opinion has changed a lot on Far Cry 5 over the years. I definitely look at the game with a new and more positive perspective, especially after Far Cry 6, which I initially slightly preferred to Far Cry 5, but over time and giving it some more thought, I think I might actually prefer 5. Again, I hope to revisit that Far Cry 6 versus Far Cry 5 video in the near future, but anyways, I wanted to go over all the main positives I thought Far Cry 5 got right. The first thing, and easily one of the biggest strengths, are the antagonists, the Seed family. I remember really liking the Seed family when I first played the game when it came out, and after Far Cry 6, I have a much higher appreciation for the Seed family because my goodness, the Far Cry 6 villains pale in comparison. John, Faith, and Jacob all feel creepy and at times actually quite scary, but each is scary and dangerous for different reasons. They all have unique, memorable personalities that distinct them from one another and make them feel like genuine big bosses you have to clear. In Far Cry 6, the villains felt like little road bumps on your way to take on Anton Castillo, while the Seed family each feels like they take up their own entire act of the game and feel like a genuine obstacle you have to clear. The voice acting and performances for each family member is also incredible. They're creepy and pretty terrifying, and the terrific performances are what sell that. Then of course there's another great positive about the story with the main antagonist, Joseph Seed. Joseph is an antagonist that continued to grow on me with time. Again, not only is the performance by Greg Brick phenomenal, but I love the moral complexity that comes with Joseph Seed. I love Pagan Min and Joseph Seed so much because you can have a genuine discussion and make an argument that they aren't evil and aren't the actual villains of the story. Joseph Seed has a certain charm that makes you actually like him. You know you shouldn't, especially since you're supposed to bring him down, but you can tell he's so much different than your typical villain. I think the heavy focus on religion also really helps sell this even more, since we typically have a positive association with it. And again, after the Joseph Collapse DLC for Far Cry 6 and Far Cry New Dawn, it further ensured that Joseph is a good person at heart and a very morally complex character. While we're on topic, and spoiler warning here for those who have not played Far Cry 5, I've come to really appreciate the ending of this game. It's weird because initially I didn't like it. I thought it was unsatisfying, and at the time I was like, did I really do all of that just to lose in the end? But like many things with this game, I've come to really like this darker ending. Regardless of your choice at the end of the game, Joseph wins. It's not common for the protagonist, especially in a video game, to lose, and this ending really makes you think, oh my god, was Joseph right? Was I the villain this entire time, paving a path of death and destruction? The Far Cry series does this really well, especially with Jason Brody in Far Cry 3, and even to an extent in Far Cry 2 and 4. I like that the game just shatters all expectations and goes with a dark, unpredictable ending where the main character actually loses to the antagonist. Now, admittedly, Montana is not my favorite setting in the Far Cry series. However, you can't deny it's really immersive, and I really like the changes they made regarding the HUD. Removing the minimap was a great choice in my opinion. You get the on-screen waypoint instead. It just makes everything feel more immersive, and it doesn't feel as hand-holdy as most Ubisoft open world games, where you have a million markers on your screen, a compass, and a minimap. Even enemy health bars are common now. The wildlife and the random events within the world also help liven things up and provide a good atmosphere. As for gameplay, it is still pretty similar to most Far Cry games with a few exceptions. For one, I like the melee weapons and how you can have unique takedowns with them as well as throw them at enemies. For some reason, this was removed in Far Cry 6. I also like how the enemies don't feel like damage sponges. They die pretty quickly and so do you, so it just feels a lot more realistic and makes the gunplay feel more satisfying overall in my opinion. For example, the bow and sniper one-shot enemies no matter where you shoot. Again, something that's different in Far Cry 6. However, one of the most underrated features of Far Cry 5 that deserves way more recognition than it receives is the arcade mode. This mode is so cool. You never see anything like this in Ubisoft games. You get to play on all these player-created maps and levels. You can even play in co-op or multiplayer. It's a crime that it didn't return in Far Cry 6. It is so much fun and allows limitless replayability that the main game doesn't provide. There's so many unique unique settings to World War II maps, spaceships, castles. There's just so many cool levels you can play. When you give the community this kind of power, freedom, and creativity, you get to see and play some incredible creations. Oh, and finally, the game's masterpiece of a soundtrack, which I still stand by, saying this is one of the best video game soundtracks of all time. Dan Romer absolutely killed it on this game, and I'm telling you, the Colts choir music alone was enough to make me want to join up with Joseph Seed. It just fits with the tone of the game so well, or rather it sets and enforces the tone. There have been some great soundtracks in this series. Far Cry 3's was also really memorable, but I don't think Far Cry 5's will ever be topped. Far Cry 5 has its fair share of flaws for sure, and it's definitely not my favorite game in the series, but it did a lot right as well, and I definitely have a new appreciation for it after Far Cry 6 and New Dawn. But let me know what you guys think about Far Cry 5 in the comments and what it did right. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and considered subscribing to the channel if you're new. Consider joining the channel membership if you'd like, the link is in the description. And other than that, thanks for watching and have a great day, everyone.
There'll come day and there'll come night. They'll have our children in their sights. But if they don't have faith, their eyes are blind.